Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, and today my husband Chris is joining us for this video. We've been married for 11 years and we have been doing a carnivore diet for almost 7 years now. When we first started carnivore, in that first year, we lost a combined almost 250 pounds. Chris reversed his type 2 diabetes, his sleep apnea. I healed a lot of my knee issues, my back issues, digestive issues. We are just obviously very passionate about a carnivore diet, and it's turned into this lifestyle for us the last 7 years. What we wanted to do in this video is just talk to you about all those amazing things, the best things about carnivore, but also let you know some of the things that are a little more challenging, or what we can call the worst things about a carnivore diet. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Element. Element is the electrolyte drink mix that we both take every day. I start my morning every day with the unflavored version, which is literally just sodium, magnesium, and potassium. It helps me to avoid leg cramps, improves my digestion, helps me to not have low energy or any headaches or any other symptoms from not having carbs. That's why I love the salt-based electrolytes.
Element also comes in several flavors that are sweetened with stevia if you're able to tolerate artificial sweeteners or natural flavors. My particular favorite is the citrus, so I really love that, especially during the summer when it's hot and you're sweaty. I also like the chocolate caramel in my coffee, cold coffee in the mornings.
If you want to try the flavors Chris mentioned, the unflavored version that I love, or any of the other flavors, you can actually get a free sample pack with any purchase. If you go to drinkelement.com/LAURAESPATH, they have a deal for all my subscribers. You can get that free sample pack with your purchase, and they have a 100% money back guarantee. So thanks to Element for sponsoring this video. Okay, let's start with all the fun things, the best things about carnivore. Obviously, we're very passionate about it, and a lot of that is because it has been so successful for us because of the weight loss. It has been something that we were able to get into the groove on losing weight. We had a problem with carbs and junk food and processed foods previously, so obviously all of the food that you get to eat on carnivore, that's one of the best things, is that we really enjoyed that food.
The food you're eating on a carnivore diet has a really high satiety when you're eating that, which turns into the weight loss, honestly, because it's very difficult to overeat ribeyes and steaks and things like this. So you feel full longer, and that energy sustains itself longer. That's one of the best things ever. I can go super long time without eating and not feel uncomfortable at all.
You're always gonna hear people talking about calories and how much they matter. And yeah, calories matter to a certain extent, but satiety matters more. And 1,000 calories of pizza is not gonna satiate you in the same way that 1,000 calories of a ribeye would. And so your body is gonna feel satisfied longer, which then helps a lot with losing weight.
Along those same lines, not only you feel more satisfied, but your body's more satisfied nutritionally because they're so nutrient dense. So you're getting all the energy from the fat, you're getting all the protein from the protein, and you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need when you're eating all that meat.
And that's why people who have healing to do or have been unhealthy previously, they have autoimmune issues, like your body's just getting so much nutrient dense food, and the fat gives you a lot of energy. It's what makes it sustainable for a lot of people long term, versus you're not dealing with those carb crashes, like spikes and crashes from eating things like sugar. That's another big part of it, is you have stable energy. So you get a lot of energy when you're eating the proper amount of fat, but then also it's much more stable. You're not dealing with those afternoon crashes anymore, right, or energy dips.
When you're on the carbs, you get that insulin spike and then crash. You just want to take a nap. That never happens when you're on a carnivore diet.
Yeah, even if you're eating a large amount. Chris eats 1 meal a day, 2 pounds of steak in the middle of the day, and then has stable energy all throughout the afternoon.
Yeah.
There really is just so much healing, and I think that weight loss is a benefit, yes, and that was important to us. But the reason why we have stuck to this for so long and why so many people approach a carnivore diet is because of the healing properties, healing of digestive issues. I've had a lot of knee issues, back issues, joint pain previously, healing skin issues, autoimmune conditions. There's just, because that food is so nutrient dense, there is so much healing that happens in your body, and you feel so good. That's why most people are not using this as a quick weight loss plan. It's why we've stuck with it for so many years, because it's just so healing and you feel so good.
Right, and I think the weight coming off, obviously that's gonna help your joints and your back, but these benefits happened right away, within weeks. Your joints feel better, your knees feel better, your back feels better. I constantly had problems with my lower back, And those problems got better almost immediately. And since losing the weight, magnified many more times over.
And that's because you don't have all those inflammatory foods like the sugars and the grains and the carbs and the seed oils. You know, we're eating so much cleaner and our body is not dealing with a lot of that inflammation. And so Chris was off his CPAP machine within losing 20 pounds. It didn't take him losing 100 pounds because there was so much less inflammation that he was dealing with that was causing his sleep apnea previously.
Before starting the carnivore diet, I was on tons of ibuprofen every day. My whole body hurt all the time, headaches constantly. You know, a lot of that was from the poor sleep, the sleep apnea, the back pain, all of it. I'd go through bottles and bottles. I also was on 5 or 6 different allergy medications because my nose was constantly inflamed. Within a month or two of carnivore diet, all my allergy symptoms went away. I stopped taking all my medications for allergies, and the Advil bottles started staying full longer, and we didn't have to pick up Costco-sized bottles all the time.
In addition to that, this is another benefit is just the health freedom in general. Chris was on a handful of prescriptions for cholesterol and blood pressure and, you know, diabetes, and he no longer takes any of those prescriptions. Within just a couple of months, he was off of all of those prescriptions as well as all the over-the-counter medications.
Right, so if you think this diet is expensive, you're going to be much more cost offset by all the medications and doctor's visits you don't have to go to anymore.
Part of my rock bottom for wanting to start carnivore in the first place is that within the same week, I had seen a specialist to have my gallbladder checked out because I had gallstones and had an ultrasound on my gallbladder. I went to go see a colorectal surgeon because I needed hemorrhoid surgery. And I went to go see my gynecologist or my OB because I was having like PCOS type symptoms. None of those surgeries happened. I reversed all of those issues. Think of the cost from just seeing all of those specialists in the same week, the prescription cost. Like that has been a tremendous relief on our budget, is to take away the medical costs of being unhealthy. And while we do think the carnivore diet doesn't have to be expensive, we probably spend less money now on steak than we used to spend on pizza and ice cream. Right. You have to also look at the big picture of the savings that you're going to have from the medical cost as well.
Right.
For us, one of the best things about a carnivore diet is just how simple it is. And it is very easy. It doesn't mean you'll want to do it all the time, and we'll get into that in a second, but it is just so simple. I travel a lot for my job, and so I'm able to keep things simple, take food with me. We eat, meat every day, eggs. Your shopping to the grocery trips are very quick. You go in, hit the meat department, and leave. Food waste, there is no food, like I'm not throwing away tons of vegetables and food that goes rotten and bags of salad. We waste so much less food. We don't really do any meal prep other than thawing meat for the next day. I ate a vegan diet for like 6 to 9 months at one point, and the amount of food prep and planning, and I would spend my entire weekend just trying to like prep all my food for the entire week, and there was so much waste. Eating carnivore is just so much more simple, and that's one of the reasons why it's been sustainable for us. Okay, now we want to talk about the worst ones, but I'm sure as far as the best and the positives, there's a lot that we missed or just things that we didn't think of, so comment below what you think are the best things about a carnivore diet. Now let's talk about the worst or the downsides that people might have with eating carnivore.
I would say, first off, it's boring, monotonous. You're eating the same thing all the time. And you could make a case for that, I guess, but we've learned over time to really find different cuts of meat, we always have 2 different types of meat with the meal at least, so that we feel like we're getting some variety, different methods to cook it. If you can tolerate seasoning, different seasoning profiles, and making sure that it's always interesting and fun. And if you really hone your cooking skills, you'll never ever get tired of a perfectly cooked steak.
Okay, Chris will never get tired of a perfectly cooked steak. He eats steak and usually something like chicken or pork belly with it every single day, and it's from the grill. He does a lot of the cooking in our house as well, and so every day we have like grilled steak and some type of chicken or pork to go along with it. I need a little more variety than Chris does. He can really handle like this same thing every single day. I get, after like 3 or 4 days of grilled steak and chicken or grilled steak and pork belly, I'm like, please, can I have something a little different? Like, let's mix it up a bit. And that's nice that I do have that option. I can do some meatballs, or I could do a taco bowl or chicken wings. There is a lot of ways that I can still add variety into my day and into my diet. But you are eating meat all the time. Okay. Right. So that is something that you're going to have to contend with.
And what that can cause, back to one of the positives being the satiety, is when you're eating a lot of meat like this, it's easy to undereat too. So a lot of people struggle on this way of eating because they just can't eat enough, and then their metabolism slows down and things like that. So, I mean, advice for that would be eat more, but I know that's a big challenge for some people. Make it more interesting, make it more fun. That will get you to eat a little bit more.
And that is part of the downside, is that it's very common to undereat on a carnivore diet, and you may have to, undereating for a long period of time can cause a lot of health issues. It also can cause your metabolism to slow down and you'll stop losing weight. If I eat a big plate of eggs and bacon first thing in the morning, I could very easily not eat for the rest of the day. And then I've only eaten about 800 calories for the day. So you have to be really careful not to undereat. And I have to be reminded often that, like, okay, you got to have another meal for the day, or let's up your fat, and you've been under eating, which is why maybe your weight loss has slowed down. Another thing that is a downside to carnivore is that it is difficult to be spontaneous. I travel a lot for my job. I do take food with me. I have a lot of videos that show you maybe how you could find good options when you're eating out. But I also get a lot of criticism for those ideas that they're not perfect enough and they're not clean enough. So depending on why you're doing carnivore or what your reasons are, like, the more strict that you need to be, the harder it is to be spontaneous and to eat out and to have not planned ahead. So it is really important that you're planning ahead, or you might find yourself with a less than ideal option or something that's gonna maybe get you off track.
Right, and that applies to social situations as well. So if you're going to events and parties, and people aren't usually gonna have anything for you there, so you need to prepare ahead of time and perhaps bring some of your own food or eat beforehand. We talked about how the satiety, and that really helps you. I can just fast. I don't have to eat at this party.
But then you also might have to prepare yourself for the fact of, like, hey, why aren't you eating? Do you want this treat? Do you want this alcohol? Do you want this dessert? And you're kind of just have to prepare yourself to explain that. I try to keep things really minimal and simple and just say, like, oh, I'm not hungry, I'm good, thanks, no. Like, you don't need to go into your whole diet reasons and everything about it, because that's kind of, I mean, unless you want to, but just kind of raises a lot of questions.
So we talked a lot about how we save so much on medical bills and medications and all that kind of stuff. But, some ways of doing carnivore can be pretty expensive if you're bougie about it and need fillets or lobster and things like this, but it also can be very affordable. Ground beef and eggs, super cheap. You can get roasts, chuck roast, things like this on sale. We always shop sales. We do eat some nice cuts here and there because overall we are saving money. So we do try to focus that money that way, but we offset that cost with chicken legs, chicken thighs, things like that are really cheap. So we have a little bit of nice and a little bit of average to offset it.
If you want to get fancy about it, or you're trying to order organic, grass finished, pasture raised, like, those are things, like, the fancier you get with carnivore, the more expensive it's going to be. And so you have to decide, like, is that realistic for your budget, and is that sustainable for you?
Right. And I think that brings me to, like, the worst thing is a lot of the dogma and the carnivore police. So hopefully we don't come off that way on this channel, but you're going to find 25,000 people that are going to tell you you're doing it wrong whenever you talk about
People
it.
tell me that every day. Every day. Video, somebody in the comments
7
says,
years, all
we're
the
doing
success,
it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. You're not a carnivore. You're not this. Okay, well, 99.9% of everything we eat is meat. Okay, I think a couple seasonings doesn't make it not carnivore. Right. So don't worry about all those carnivore police and all that stuff. Worry about your results and what's best for you that you can maintain. And
not even the dogma of, like, carnivores, but then also the misinformation from people that you love. Like, what about your cholesterol? I get asked about my cholesterol, my poop, and by coworkers. Like, what coworker is going to come up to you and say, like, how do you poop? And yet that's something in my corporate job.
Right.
I get people asking that all the time. So there's just a lot of misunderstanding about carnivore and meat and your health. And so it's
next
just
time you see
lot.
Somebody eating a Pop-Tart at the office,
say, how's your poop?
What's your A1C like?
Exactly. Yeah. Let's see how quick HR gets mad at me mad at me for that one. I think, for Chris, like, that's definitely the frustrating part of it. I think for me, really the worst thing, though, is just sometimes it's really sad to not have the old foods that I used to have. I have realized through doing this that like obviously I was eating those other junk foods and comfort foods because I was bored or I was stressed or I was emotional. But like it's a lot of retraining your mind and your brain and even your body, that when you're going through stress or when you're just really sad, like I can't comfort myself with food the way that I used to. And I think that's been, you know, I've been through periods in the last 7 years where I've gained weight again and I've lost weight again. And I've, you know, like it's usually because of some type of like stress or emotional issue. And I convince myself that, you know, one is okay or a little bit is fine, and you just kind of like quickly lose your way. And that's a really hard thing to contend with. Like long-term consistency and really addressing those emotional issues with food has nothing to do with carnivore, but it also has everything to do with carnivore. And there's a lot of grieving that you go through with holidays and traditions and old foods, and it sometimes is a lot, and it's not always fun, okay? I have to remind myself of all of those really good things about doing carnivore and my health and my future and my goals and the life that I want to live, so that I don't let those sad things that I feel like I'm missing out on affect me. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I'm sure there's stuff.
You guys tell us.
Let us know in the comments.
What's the worst thing as well? Let us know if we've missed anything. I hope you give it a shot. I hope you find great healing, and I hope you eat some amazing steaks. Thanks for watching.